What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new commentary video. As always, thank you guys so much for clicking on the video, and we are back at it with some Modern Warfare 3 Survival, so just kicking it old school, and you guys seem to like it, so we're gonna keep playing a little bit of it. So anyways, today I want to talk a little bit about changing your mindset, and I want to talk about this for two major reasons. And one of those major reasons has to do with the video that I made last week, where I talked a little bit about how she's not thinking of you. And there was a handful of comments of people talking about how they're never gonna meet a girl, how I'm being way too positive and all these things. And I think that is fair to feel that way. But I want to talk today about changing your mindset. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because of a video that I watched literally 10 minutes before making this video. And I don't want to call it this content creator by name because I just don't feel that's right. But basically, he's been making content that's been really popular on the platform lately of him showing his job and just sort of talking about how he feels like he's stuck and how he's really not happy where he's at his life at 30. And in particular, today he released a video talking about how he got fired. And he lost his job because he posted a video of himself and somebody else drinking while on the job. And rightfully so, he was fired. And I think that a lot of the comments that were shared during that video and his content in general shows a lack of a positive mindset. And I am somebody that's a pretty big optimist. And that's something that my partner always tells me is that, they're a bit of a pessimist. And they will always tell me, it's nice to have an optimist in my life. And with that, I want to talk a little bit about changing your mindset. And the major thing that I want to mention right off the bat is that if you think of yourself as a loser, you're going to be a fucking loser. And if you think of yourself as somebody that's great, you're going to be somebody that's great. And I've been through this too. There was, a good period of my life where I would call myself a loser, where I would call myself awful names, and I would put myself down. The thing is that when I put myself down is that I knew that I wasn't a good person. I treated myself as if I was doing awful, that I was failing. I was never going to have a girlfriend. I wasn't going to have these things. And then I started to change my mindset a bit. I started to change my perspective on life. I started to think rather than everything in my life is going to be bad, that there's going to be bad things, but there's also going to be good things. And when I started thinking about those good things, that good things were going to start happening to me, I started having small wins in my life. I wasn't thinking of everything as this awful life-changing event when it really wasn't that, and that I wasn't failing and that I was doing good. And I started this in school. That's really where it started. For me, at least, is that for a long time, I told myself that I was a fucking idiot. And the more that I told myself that I'm good at this, the better I got at it. And it's crazy what just telling yourself a little bit of self-motivation will do. Because in particular, in this guy's content, he's talked about how he's, he can't finish college, he's 30 years old, and blah, 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 whatever. And I thought about that. And if I told myself from age 18 to 30 that I fucking hated my life and that I hate what I'm doing, I'm going to hate what I'm doing. And you can tell yourself that you hate what you're doing, but you want to change it. But he's not doing that. He in his videos, he's calling himself a loser. When he just makes a simple mistake that somebody makes every single day. He just calls himself a loser in the video. And when I watched that, I was like, bro, no wonder you feel like a loser. You're telling yourself that every single day, every single moment that you show up to work. When you tell yourself that you're a loser, you're gonna feel like a fucking loser, and you're gonna do shit that's gonna sort of make you feel like a loser. You got to think of yourself as a winner sometimes. The best thing that I've ever heard regarding this is something that Woody's Gamertag said 10 years ago, which is that one loss doesn't turn you into a loser. And that's true. But what does turn you into a loser is that if you let one loss spiral into multiple losses and you constantly remind yourself of that one singular fuck up that you had, that one singular failure, you are going to remind yourself every single day of why you are a loser. And you can't fucking do that. A lot of self-improvement has to do with simply thinking of yourself in a different light. And that's something that I have to tell myself too. There's times when I go to bed and I just lay there in bed and I look up at the ceiling and I tell myself, what am I doing? Why do I try? Why do I think that I'm good at my job? Why do I think that I'm good at making content? Why do I think that I'm smart? Why do I think these things? And I tell myself and I basically yell at myself in my brain you are a fucking worthless piece of shit. I feel like I'm J.K. Simmons and Whiplash type shit. I feel like I'm telling myself that I'm a failure. I feel like I'm Carmen in the Bear. I feel like I'm telling myself, you know what? You are too slow, motherfucker. I feel like I got the fucking executive chef, like, breathing down my neck, telling me to go faster, or that I should, go out in the parking lot and smoke cigarettes. That's how I feel. And then like part of it is like, and it is hard to do at first. And like, especially if you're younger, it's tough to do. But like to just tell yourself, no, I'm pretty good at this stuff, man. I'm pretty smart. And just like try to think of examples. And it's really hard to do when you're trying to motivate yourself. I'll fully admit that. Like it's not easy to just be able to tell yourself like I'm pretty chill. You know what I mean? Like that is something that I will admit to you is really tough. But if you try to do it every day, just give yourself a little bit of positive reinforcement every day, it gets easier and easier. And I don't think that you need to feel like you're a winner every single moment. I think of myself as a loser sometimes too. There's sometimes that when I'm working on a project and I'm editing something and I watch it back 5 times, I'm like, wow, this is not good. But the more that you practice it and the more that you tell yourself that you're good at something, or the more that you practice and you remind yourself that you're doing something pretty interesting, the easier that it becomes to realize the difference between, what makes you good and what makes you bad. And with that, I think the same thing happens with relationships. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm never going to find a girlfriend, you're not going to find a girlfriend. Because the thing is that when you tell yourself these things that cause baggage and you end up finding a nice girl, she's not going to be interested. Like, let's be real. 99% of girls are not going to be interested in a weak man. And I don't mean that in like a weird Andrew Tate way. I just mean that truthfully. If you're somebody that's insecure, a girl's probably not going to be into that. Right? Like that's like just genetically, that's not how that works. If you look at like just historically what men were dating women, what men were fucking girls, right? Like let's be 100% honest as men for 1 second. That doesn't mean that you need to be this weird alpha man that goes to the gym every day. That's not my argument. But what is my argument is that you can't expect to find a relationship if your attitude is that I'm never going to find a relationship. Yeah, you're not. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And it's the same thing. If you tell yourself, I'm never going to find a better job, and you only fucking tell yourself, I'm never going to find another job, and you just go to your shit end job every single day without changing your life every day, yeah, you're going to stay at that shit end job, Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people put this pressure on themselves to think that I didn't get there magically, so it's never going to happen. Unfortunately, especially if you're in America, a lot of things aren't handed to us. We kind of have to make our own path. And I kind of don't like the attitude that people can't succeed on their own. And I don't like it when people feel like they can't succeed. Because I felt that way too. And I just want to be real for 1 minute. I don't talk about it a lot, but I'm legally blind, guys. And at every single step that I took, I had somebody trying to pull me back a step. Every time that I had some ambitious idea, I had somebody pulling me back when I was a kid, telling me, you can't do that. Letting me know that you're not going to be able to succeed in this world. And you know what I did every single time somebody told me that, especially by the time I got to middle school? I proved them wrong every single step of the way. You got to do that a little bit too. And I told myself constantly that I'm going to do something great with my life. I don't know if I should fully tell this story, but I'm going to do it. When I was applying to schools, I wanted to come to Chicago for school. I had several people in my life tell me that maybe this wasn't the best idea for you. And the person that hurt me the most came from my grandmother. And what hurt me is that, I knew that she wasn't a big fan of me moving. But what really hurt me is that one day she texted me and asked me if I thought about any other schools. And I told her, nope, this is what I want. And she sent me a text that was meant to go to somebody else and not me. And it boiled down to, I just don't see him succeeding. And if that's what he wants to do, good for him. But I don't see it working out. And that really upset me inside. And reading that, it just told me I need to fucking prove her wrong. And it wasn't like this anger thing where it's like, oh, I hate you because I love my grandmother. But I think it comes from this desire of hunger inside of me. And you got to change that mindset from nothing is ever going to be for me if you don't try, right? You can't expect to succeed if you don't try. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't try. If when I made first few videos and people told me they were shit, I gave up there, you guys wouldn't have this series, right? And I feel like that happens to a lot of people. Is that they get in this static place where they've been told that they have to think a certain way, that they need to be a certain way. But, whether if that's your parents, your friends, whatever, you don't. You have the freedom to choose the path that you are going to go down. And I want to see your path. Seriously, chase down your path. Don't give up on your path. Find that path and chase it, And for me, when I found that path, I went down that path. And when I sort of found out I want to prove people wrong, I enjoy that. I found purpose. I found a real purpose. I've loved every moment of it since then. Chase that hunger, guys, genuinely. And you got to change your mindset. If you want to succeed, you got to think of yourself as a winner. You can't think of yourself as the loser girls don't want or that jobs aren't looking for you. You can come over anything in this world. And I want you to because I believe in you. And that's really what matters is that you just need a little bit of patience, a little bit of luck and a hell of a lot of determination. Like a lot of determination. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you guys for watching the video. As always, this episode was sponsored by W Energy. You can use code POINTC10 or the link found in the description for 10% off of your order on their website. And just thank you guys so much for watching. If you feel like it, please subscribe, please hit that like button, and also join our Discord. We'd like to chat with you guys in there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope this video helped. So change your mindset today. Anyways, guys, have a great rest of your day, and peace.
They can take from me. They'll never find no faking me. They said my dream was make-believe. Well, thankfully, I use your hate to me to motivate. You see, I can be your everything, or every day your enemy, or every day your memory. You might just be a friend to me. You spend your time defending me, but me is all I tend to.